Hi, I'm Rosie Birkett and I'm really excited to be sharing my recipe for maple and chili bacon with summer vegetable orzo. The first thing we need to do is glaze our bacon in a really delicious mixture. We need gochujang, which is a fermented Korean chili paste, absolutely delicious. And we're mixing that together with the maple syrup from Canada. These two ingredients make such a great glaze for the bacon. It's going to be sweet, spicy, savoury, all the good things. Just want to mix those together. And if you've got any of this left, keep it in the fridge. It will keep for a good few days. And I'm using some lovely organic smoked streaky bacon, and you just want to dip it in the glaze. I really fell in love with maple when I was living in Canada, actually, and I used to buy it in big jars from the supermarket. And ever since then, I've been using it in my cooking, not just in my sweet dishes, but also in savoury. And for anyone that's not familiar with it, gochujang is a really amazing ingredient, and it's actually dried in the sun, which means it's got this really incredible flavour. And together with that sweetness from the maple syrup, it's absolutely delicious. It's a bit of a messy job, but the flavour is going to be totally worth getting your hands a bit sticky for. So that's done, and now we're just going to prepare the tomatoes. So I've got about 10 cherry tomatoes here that I've just sliced in half, and I'm just going to give them a good pinch of sea salt, season with some black pepper, and just coat them with a little bit of olive oil. And then onto a baking tray, and I do them cut side up. Roasting these tomatoes will really concentrate their flavour, bring out their sweetness, and that will just pair really lovely with that chili maple bacon. And the last step, take our glazed bacon and just add a little sprinkle of maple sugar over the top. And this will just give a lovely extra hit of maple aroma, a little bit of extra sweetness as well. It's not essential. If you haven't got the maple sugar, don't worry, but it's just a nice little extra that I like to do. And then we're just going to roast them in the oven at 170 fan for 25 to 30 minutes. I love cooking with orzo because it's got this amazing kind of grain shape, and it's beautiful in kind of salady, summery dishes and things like that. We've got a big pot of boiling salted water here, and we're just going to put it in and cook it for around 4 minutes until al dente. And after a minute of cooking it, we're going to add in the asparagus. We've got some lovely British asparagus here, which has just come into season. And while that's cooking, I'm just going to turn over the bacon. It's getting lovely and caramelised. And then we just want to add in our broad beans for about another minute, and then we're going to finish with the peas for about 30 seconds. And the trick with orzo, any kind of pasta, because they do vary in terms of their cooking times, is to see how long they recommend to cook it on the back of the packet, and always cook it for a couple of minutes less than that if you want it al dente. So I've just drained my orzo in a big sieve and run it under cold water to stop it cooking, and then I've just separated out the asparagus spears because we're just going to finely chop these and run them through the orzo with the peas and broad beans as well. I'm using asparagus because it's just come into season. It's absolutely gorgeous. But if it wasn't asparagus season, you could use a different seasonal green, like some kale, or even a bit of purple sprouting broccoli would be really nice. And that's all just being mixed in there together. Okay, so the bacon is beautifully caramelized in that sticky chili glaze with the maple, and I'm just going to transfer it over onto this rack to cool. That should crisp it up slightly as well. And as you can see, the tomatoes are lovely and concentrated now. They're roasted and they're still nice and juicy. They're going to be absolutely lovely stirred through that orzo. Okay, so the next step is we're just going to make a lovely dressing, and that's just going to bring all the flavours together and coat the orzo so it's lovely and silky as well. So just a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, chopped spring onions, and the zest of half a lemon. And these are all just going to infuse into the oil and soften down and be really delicious. Got some chopped red chilli there, and some garlic, pinch of salt, always important. And you don't want to colour this too much. We're just kind of taking the edge off the garlic and bringing out all the flavours. Okay, so this is smelling really good, and now I'm going to add in the courgettes. And you want to cook this now for a few more minutes till the courgette's nice and soft, and coat it in all those lovely ingredients. I'm really happy with how these courgettes are looking. They've got a nice bit of colour on them, they're really softening down. So I'm going to add in the juice of about half a lemon, just to peak the flavours. I'm also going to put some really lovely fragrant herbs through this because it's a summery dish, so we've got lovely basil and mint, and I'm just going to chop them quite finely, and then we're going to stir them through at the end to give a real fresh hit. Right, now I'm just going to put the courgette dressing through the orzo, and that's just going to have a chance to mingle with the other ingredients while we finish everything off. I wish you guys could smell this, it smells so good. Just stir that through. And now this is the satisfying bit. Finishing off, we're going to chop the bacon up and run that through the orzo with our fresh herbs. And it's nice and crunchy now, so that's going to have some texture. Got that beautiful sweetness from the maple. It's an absolute flavour sensation. Keeping it quite chunky, and then adding in our fresh herbs as well. And not to forget our tomatoes. Don't worry if your tomatoes get a bit squashed at this point, because they're just going to release their flavours into the orzo too, and that'll be great. Now this would be such a good dish if you're having a summer barbecue, or even, you know, make it the day before and box it up and take it on a picnic. The final finishing touch is a little splash of maple vinegar, and this is just going to add some acidity, a little bit more of a maple boost, and really bring everything together. And a little goes a long way with this, so just use your palate and judge it according to how you like it. Now, I really love this bacon going through a salad like this, but there are so many ways you can use it. It's great for a BLT, be lovely with a fish dish, maybe some nice pollock or hake. It's a really versatile thing to have up your sleeve. So here it is, my summer vegetable orzo, which is packed full of seasonal vegetables and that gorgeous maple chili bacon. For more recipe inspiration, make sure you're following Maple Canada UK on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Thanks so much for following along with this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'm going to tuck in now.